Good evening, everyone. How are we doing? Good. I'm excited. Let's go ahead and get started, and we will begin with a piece called Painting Two Art Pieces for My Mom by Addison L.
You may be wondering why this project, and it's because of this photo right here. This is the first painting I ever made. It was when I was 4 at a birthday party. It's the outline of my kindergarten self, and then I filled it in. Since then, this has been hanging over our dining room table, and it's a constant reminder of where I began in my creative journey. Growing up in Waldorf, education has not only created my love for art, but truly nurtured and shaped it into something deeply personal for me. From a young age, I was encouraged to see the world with an open mind and creativity to notice the small details. Art became more than just something I did. It became a way I understand and connect with the world and people around me. Through years of painting, drawing, and creating, I've learned how to be imaginative and have confidence in my own ideas. Waldorf didn't just teach me art. It allowed my passion for it to grow naturally and become a strong part of who I am today and who I am becoming. I wanted to leave my family with a more grown-up version of this painting. And even though they don't look similar at all, it's still a piece of my imagination I can leave with my family. After I was commissioned, I knew I wanted to create 2 pieces of art that would reflect my artistic ability and that would complement our home. Before I spoil the surprise, they're there, but before I spoil the surprise of how they turned out, I'm going to walk you through my process first, so you can all better understand how each piece was created and thought up, almost as if you're creating them alongside me. When I first went into this project, I knew I would need someone who's gifted in painting and design. My first thought was a memory from a couple years ago. I was just like all of you guys, sitting in the audience with my classmates, excited to be watching the senior projects. And one stood out that year. It was one created by a student, and it was a piece of art that blew my small 8th grade mind away. The student that created that piece was Mercer Fustis, who's now a senior at Wake Forest and is graduating this year. So, to begin the steps of my project, I needed to reach out to her first. I told her my plan, and she wanted to help. We then started getting into the nitty-gritty. My first step in the planning process was figuring out what I would be painting. I knew for the first one I would do a peacock. My mom recommended that it would be mixed media and an abstract art piece, while still having a realistic feel. I chose to include rhinestones too, because my mom loves those. A huge inspiration for this second piece was an artist from South Africa named Werner Bronkhorst. You can see his work in the left-hand corner. But one thing I was struggling with was how I was going to make it more personal to me and my family. Mercer gave me some ideas, and then we landed on doing a Barton Springs 3D painting, inspired by his artwork. The next step in the process was getting the materials. Mercer recommended to me that I should create these pieces, create these pieces, and told me I should go to Jerry's Artorama, where I would get most of my materials. I spent time researching what I would need, making sure I had the right paints, brushes, and canvases. I ordered my rhinestones from Amazon, and I also explored materials I hadn't used before, like the 3D texture to my Barton Springs-inspired painting. Choosing the materials wouldn't just be the first step. It would shape the entire direction my project would be going. The first painting I started was the peacock. I began with the background, then worked on top of that. I originally had 4 shades of blue and aquamarine, but then I felt it was missing something. So I added pops of warmer color, and those were oranges and pinks, as you can see, and my last step was adding the rhinestones. But here's the finished product on the slide, and you can see it right here. Thank you. Next was my Barton Springs painting. Let me play the videos. I started by taping away the canvases, taping the sides, and the pool part. I then started sculpting the 3D part and painted over the mixture in shades of green and blue. You can see me painting in that corner and then taping and doing the 3D texture. That was probably my favorite part. But I hated it. So if you look at the middle photo, I just felt it looked extremely unfinished, and I was going to paint around the pool, but it just wasn't up to my standards I had for myself. So I redid it with 2 weeks left before this project. One of my big unknowns going into the first one was if I should mix the paint into the 3D modeling texture or paint over it. So my first try, I painted over it, did not like it, and so I mixed it in, and it looked like this. And for the pool part, I decided to make it look like a paint stroke rather than the shape of the actual pool. I just felt it looked more cohesive as an art piece. And here's the final product. I added some little inner tubes and swimmers to just really bring the Barton Springs feel to it. Thank you again. One of my biggest challenges throughout this project was getting the colors right. What I had imagined in my head didn't always match what I saw or put onto the canvases. I struggled more specifically with balancing the tones so they looked natural instead of too bright or too dull. There were times when I had to completely restart, which was frustrating and very time-consuming, but over time, I learned how to be more patient with myself and the process to practice before doing it on the final painting. Looking at both finished pieces, I'm very proud of how they turned out. One focuses more on color and details, while the other explores texture and creativity in a new way I had never done before. When I showed it to my parents, they loved it. My mom says she will be putting the peacock in our living room, while the Barton Springs one will be in the entrance of our house. Before I finish, I want to thank the people who supported me throughout this project. First, I want to thank my mentor, Mercer, who was there whenever I had a question or if I didn't know what to paint, so thank you, Mercer. I also want to thank my faculty sponsor, Coach Olson, for guiding me and supporting me throughout this stressful process. And finally, I want to thank my family, my mom for getting my materials and keeping me on track and organized, my dad for convincing me to start over and trusting that I would do better, and for getting the materials to restart when I didn't have any time, and my sister for always supporting me and helping me along the way. These pieces are for you guys, and I hope you love them and think of me every time you see them. Thank you. Yes, Carson?
What kind of paint did you use for each of them? And do you have a preference, or like are you looking for a certain type of paint?
So the paints I used were water-based acrylic because one of my worries was it not drying in time. See, oil takes a while to dry, and I wanted to make sure that wasn't another thing that would mess up my timing. And then for the 3D one, I thought it would take a week to dry, but it dried quicker than I thought. And for that one, it was a thick modeling paste that I sculpted, and I just mixed acrylic into that. And I don't know, I just like acrylic. I haven't really tried any others. Yes, Riley?
Can we get the painting under a white light? It looks like a different color from here.
Van? To change the light? Did it look weird? Did the colors look different? Thank you. I was like, are y'all seeing a different color than I am?
What?
Thank you, Mr. Phillips. Yes, Amy?
I know you all are kept very busy with one thing or another, but do you find that you are drawn to just creating on your own when it's not a specific project?
Yes, we've always had an art room in our house dedicated to art, and actually the table we used, there's paint from like the past 10 years of my life, so I've always loved creating and just everything to do with it. Even though my schedule has been pretty busy recently, I still love to do it, and it gives me peace. So, yeah.
Pieces are beautiful.
Thank you, Amy. Yes, Hibbo?
Was the peacock your first choice to do?
Was the peacock my first choice? So actually, I had seen Werner Bronkhorst's paintings before, and I had always really wanted to do them. So that one was my first one that I came up with, and I went to my mom, and she loved it. But the peacock really was fun to make, surprisingly. I was scared to start it because it's such a daunting thing to do, but I really ended up loving it, and it's probably one of my favorites. So. Yes, Steve?
Do you want to do some of this at SMU?
Definitely in my free time or when I come home, but I'm not really gonna major in anything like that. So, yeah. Yes, Dr. Stats?
Look how comfortable and confident you are on the stage. This goes so well.
Thank you so much. Am I done now?